Hello everyone, my name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jen. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Hi, hello, welcome to the start of weekend vlog, another one. We're here. It's a deep freeze, my friends. It is like minus 45 outside with the wind chill. It is bad. And for my American folks, yes, once you hit around minus 40, our temperatures are the same. So minus 40 Celsius is minus 40 Fahrenheit. It's the same. So just know if it's cold as fuck. Like there's a level of cold that at a certain point, like minus 27 and minus 37, they feel the same to me because you go outside and you're just like, my skin hurts, my face hurts, my bones hurt. I can feel my nose hairs freezing. Like it's hell to go outside. So I'm just not going outside this weekend if I can help it. On Sunday, I do have Lindsay's live stream, which is going to be very exciting and very fun. I'm so excited to chat with her about her books and her works in progress. And then I have Sophie's book club in the evening. I did finish her book yesterday, so that's great. It was my 4th book in January. So it's the 23rd. And I am only 4 books in. I feel so sluggish in my reading. And it's because, and I've said this in many different places, but I have things that I have to be reading right now. And that is like the number one thing that derails and makes me not want to read. I have to have read Sophie's book, which thank God is fucking done. But now I have to read an arc, which is what I'm going to be reading this weekend because I'm part of the street team and it has to be done by the end of January, which I didn't realize. I thought I had January and February to read it, but I looked over the rules and it's the end of January and I was like, oh, fuck. So I got to be reading that one, which is fun and exciting, but I also have so many issues reading just straight up without an audiobook. My focus just isn't there anymore. So this is going to be a good experiment this weekend to see how much I can actually read of this book. I would really like to finish it this weekend, start and finish this book. It is a romantasy, so hopefully it'll go a little quicker. I'm really hoping the writing style clicks with me so I just fall into it.
Honey?
We shall see. It is the 23rd, so I do have like 7 days left to read this book, but 7 or 8. But I would really like to finish it this weekend so that I can also read some other stuff in January too, because I have so many library books that I want to be reading. I want to get into the sequel of The Surviving Sky. I want to get into The Unrelenting Earth. Like I just want to be reading so many things, and yet I can't because I have to read things. I do want to be reading these things that I have to read as well. It's just the fact that I have deadlines to read them that I'm just like, I don't want to read them. You know what I mean? That's what it was like in university too. Like if I had to read a book, I was like, but I don't wanna, you know what I mean? So I also have to read Wuthering Heights. I have to start that soon because our book club is on the 13th of February. So I feel like Wuthering Heights is going to be a February endeavor for me to read, but I would like to start it because I also have a feeling it's going to take me a second to get through it because it's a classic, and it's a classic I don't necessarily love because I have read half of it before and DNF'd it. We're going to find out. We're going to find out how that one goes. Not this weekend. This weekend is all about Our Rogue Fates by Sarah Glenmarsh. I need to get my ebook. No, I need to get my Kobo, which has been charging all day. What are we at? 100%, nice. I need to get my Kobo locked and loaded. It has butter on it from last weekend. I did have to return my audiobook for butter, so that one is going to take a little bit of a break, but I am at 52% of the way through that. Stunning. I'm so excited about this.
You've got a big storm coming.
Yay. Romantasy. Found family. Why aren't you focusing? There we go. My camera does not want to focus on it, but this is what we're going to be reading this weekend. Buckle in. I also need to redo my nails because these 3 nails have just been hanging on for dear life, and these ones are long, and now I'm tapping them on everything because they're getting a little bit long for me, which I play piano, and I played piano for 24 years of my life, right? It has been ingrained in me to have short nails, otherwise you can hear the tick 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 on the keyboards. So the fact that these are a little longer than my fingertips are driving me crazy. So gonna redo my nails at some point. It's gonna be a very cozy weekend. I have a sourdough in my microwave currently proofing itself away because the last sourdough bread I made was actually kind of not good. Like I didn't put enough salt in it and it tasted funny. So I'm hoping that this one redeems that. But I do also just need bread for the week because I'm out of bread and I haven't bought bread in like 2 or 3 weeks because now I can make sourdough for myself, so I don't buy bread. So we're gonna be baking some bread. We're gonna be reading some stuff and we're gonna do some crocheting because I do need to do the book blanket square for Sophie's book square because I'm going to do that. We're going to be doing some different journaling. We're going to be, you know, just having a great time. We're also going to be playing Animal Crossing because I'm back on that bag. Yes, I am, girlies. The update came through and I have just been swallowed by it. So this is another reason why I want books with audiobooks, because I want to be reading while I'm also playing Animal Crossing. Maybe I need to pick something to listen to when I'm playing Animal Crossing, but maybe I just will play Animal Crossing while watching a video online or something. Either way, welcome to the vlog. I'm so glad you're here. But yeah, this weekend is gonna be very, very chill. I am not walking out this door into that cold until I absolutely have to on Sunday for my friend's book club. We're gonna get started. We're gonna read this beautiful baby this weekend. Oop, upside down. I'm so excited to get into this romantasy, finally. Let's get this started. Hello friends, it is now much later, as is apt for my vlogs. You guys know this. It's like 2 a.m. That one is over there, being a little lady on the corner. I am at officially 37% of the way through our Rogue Fates. I'm having a very okay time with this. Well, first of all, as I've said multiple times, I am not used to reading with just my eyes. So it's not only me having to get used to the writing style, but having to try and immerse myself in my own ways. And I did that for the first part of it with the Lord of the Rings soundtrack because I thought that was apt. I was enjoying it. It was flowing well enough. And I think that it's not bad. I do have some issues with it. I think mainly with, there's some weirdness with the pacing of scenes and some of the dialogue. Like it feels a little jarring in some places. Like it's just not even or flowy or nice or just like a nice cadence of storytelling. It feels a little jarring. And every once in a while, like 97% of the writing is fine. And then like 3% of it feels like it should be a couple drafts ago writing. Like it shouldn't be a final polished writing, which I guess this is the arc, so she probably could have done more polishing from then, but like arcs are usually basically the final thing. There's only a last like spell check type situation, right? Like it's not big changes unless there's like something blatantly glaringly wrong with it. So I'm not anticipating it to be a super fix on all of those. I don't know, it just feels off. Like the writing, every so often I come across a sentence or two or a paragraph or a structure of dialogue and I'm like, that doesn't feel polished. That feels like something I would read in a draft, not in the final thing. You know what I mean? So I think that's just my brain being particularly mean because I just came off of reading my friend Sophie's book and that was in draft form. And my brain is just particularly mean with that kind of stuff. So I think I am enjoying it. I am enjoying the story. There are a couple moments where I've genuinely just like kind of lost myself in the story, which has been nice, but I miss having the tandem read, of course. I want to be completely immersed in this. The music did help. I had like, I put a soundscape on the TV so it wasn't anything I could even like listen to. I had both my headphones in. I was locked in and I am enjoying it. There were a couple moments where I've just like genuinely I've laughed out loud because like some of the characters are reading our two main characters, Mal and Griff, for filth. I love that. We love that. We love keeping them humble. But yeah, I think there's a little bit of, I don't know, there's just a little bit of weird kind of jarring pacing with the scenes and the dialogue and the choices that are made of where the dialogue kind of goes that I'm just not quite clicking with in some instances. I also really don't like the character Alice very much right now. She seems to be a favorite amongst the other folks in the Discord that I'm a part of for the street team for this arc, but so maybe my opinion will change for her because I don't love not liking women characters in books. She just kind of isn't giving me much right now. There's also a lot of use of different substances in this book. Like Mal is most definitely an alcoholic and he's constantly drinking from his flask, and then Alice is constantly high. She uses mushrooms and psychedelic berries and stuff like that. And I don't love that in a book, especially because Alice is a mom and she has 3 kids. And I feel like it's either she's just kind of getting, I don't know if she's like, if that's like a normal thing for her. It hasn't been very clear if like that's her normal state of being around her kids, or if this is like because they're now on a quest, she can do that. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it very much. But like, on the other side of it, like, it's not like a completely like okay thing that the two substances are being used because our one main character Griff is sober. So it's, I don't know, it's just not clicking for me yet. Like, I'm liking it, I'm not hating it. There's just something off for me right now. So I'm obviously gonna keep going because I am enjoying it. It's not, as I keep saying, it's not bad, and I really want to get past this weird, awkward relationship bullshit between Griff and Mal that's at the beginning of this, because they hate each other because of some fucking thing that happened that's still not very clear. A lot of like the backstory lore bits aren't very clear yet, and it's kind of in the way of like, well, okay, like it could be clearer, you're just not explaining it fully, like you're just drawing it out to draw it out, like it's not like, just tell us, like, you know what I mean? So I just have to settle into the way that Sarah Glenn Marsh writes their books, and maybe that'll help. And I'm also, of course, I'm having troubles focusing because I have trouble focusing without an audiobook, and that's on me, that's not on the book. That's what's going on. Anyway, so this is a adventure romantasy, I would say, where we have Mal and Griff, who are ex-best friends. They come together when Mal gets a job that essentially will free him of his contract with this thieving situation that he's got going on, and will also, for some reason, exonerate Griff's like name on this list of like, I don't know why Griff was targeted to be murdered at the beginning of this book, but he was for some fucking reason. I don't know. Mal thinks it's so on him to fix that because it was like his boss and his planning that kind of got Griff almost murdered. Like, he takes a job essentially to, Mal, takes a job essentially to find this fabled treasure that will clear his contract with his boss and also take Griff, I keep getting them confused, to take Griffin off this hit list. I don't know. And so he kind of asks their friend Alice, their mutual friend that Griff has also not really spoken to in many years after this big fallout, because Alice decided to go with Mal more because, in her words, Mal needed that because Griff had other people around him that could like protect him or whatever, but Mal had nobody, so she like chose Mal for that. So like, Griff has not met any of her kids. She's got 3 kids and her oldest is like 6. So like, he hasn't been around for a while. Now he's kind of back. He was on like the brink of death right at the beginning, and Mal feels bad about it, whatever. But they still haven't like spoken to one another about anything, because every time they speak, they kind of like get into this, not really like a fight, but it's this weird verbal, I don't even want to say sparring match because it's not there either. It's not bickering, it's not banter, it's just off. And it's like they just can't have a straight conversation with each other. Griff has been absolutely obsessed with Mal for years. He's deeply in love with Mal. So much so that his boyfriend of 4 years looks like Mal. He's obsessed with Mal. And it honestly, Liam, the boyfriend, deserves someone who is not completely obsessed with another man. Like, and visibly, like, people can recognize it. And it's crazy that Liam stuck around for 4 years. That's nuts. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. So then Mal takes Alice and also Griffin, because they go on this quest that's also tied to Alice's father who died, and they don't really know how he died on this adventure or whatever. So they're gonna go to like try find out some lore on that. And so Mal offers to Griff, like, will you come with us? And then Griffin says yes. And now they're on the quest together. So I love a quest. You guys know I love a quest. Traditional fantasy questing, yes. This is romantasy as well, so it's very heavily focused on their relationship, obviously, and like the tension there. So I'm excited to see how that relationship comes to fruition. And yeah, I love the queerness in here. I do like I was going to say representation, but I talked about the substance abuse earlier, and that's really the only rep we have right now other than queerness rep. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I am only at 37%, so I could definitely fall in love with this book by the 50% mark. I'm hoping to fall in love with it a little bit more, and we shall see where that takes us. I'm not hating it. I'm enjoying the read. It is going quite quickly, because I remember seeing, I saw Sarah holding up a copy of a book, and it's smaller than I anticipated it being. So it's like between 300 and 400 pages, So a digestible, easy little fantasy to read. It is going quick. Like, I'm not slugging through it. So we love that. Like, I'm 37% of the way through. Like, it's going fast. So anyways, that is the update, my friends, on that. I have my sourdough loaf currently proofing in my fridge, so I can bake it tomorrow. Hopefully it's going to be better than the other one I made. I anticipated being much better than the other one I made because it's rising better, it's doing all the things better, and I added enough salt this time. So anyways, media journal is coming in handy. I love it. Played some Animal Crossing tonight too. I took a little break in the middle there. Played some Animal Crossing. 'Twas fun. It's just been a very chill night, and I have a gentle headache, and I am tired, and it is 2:20 in the morning, so I'm gonna go to bed. And we shall see what I get up to tomorrow. Tomorrow is a lot of nothing. So gonna be a lot of reading, hopefully. Maybe I can get this polished up tomorrow. That would be crazy, wonderful, amazing. So yeah, if I don't end up loving this book, I am going to pull myself from the street team because I don't want to bring that energy to that. But I'm really hoping I do love this book and it like kind of turns itself around in the next chunk because I want to support that author, and it just seems like such a cool book, and it's blurbed by fucking Sean Astin, like the guy who played Samwise Gamgee in Lord of the Rings. Like, it says right at the bottom, such a treasure by Sean Astin. Like, I want to be a champion of this book, you know, because the author, they also seem really, really cool, and I know their publisher has been kind of treating them really shittily with this whole release, and there's been so much kickback from the fandom of Lord of the Rings and this book, like the bad side of the fandom. Sarah Glenmarsh has had to kind of pivot their marketing a couple times, and it's all been on her. She has done the legwork of everything. They've done everything top to bottom, from like getting their book into different book boxes, and she's like, you know, actually handed the book to different people like Sean Astin, and they're the one who like reached out to People Magazine and all this kind of stuff. Like, they are doing the most, and their publisher's doing fucking nothing. It's not great. Their publisher is not treating them very well, and this book very well, book launch very well. And it's really interesting to see publishing as a whole, like how it treats different books and different authors. I don't know. It's fascinating to see kind of what gets the hype, what gets the marketing, and what really doesn't. And it just kind of ends up being like, well, obviously, if you're not going to put any marketing behind this, of course it's not going to be a great release, or it's going to be a little bit more of a flop because the publisher did not put the effort behind it, you know? So it's crazy that authors now have to be that push and that put in the legwork and the whatever, especially when they have a team behind them, you know? Anyways, I'm just rambling now. I'm going to go to bed because I'm sleepy. I'll catch you tomorrow for Saturday. Hello, friends. Happy Saturday. Technically Sunday because it's 2 a.m. Because what's new? Oh my god. I had an orange and it was very impossible to peel. So there's just little detritus bits everywhere. The one time I choose to not bring like a glass or a bowl or something to put my peel in, it is the worst peelable mandarin orange of life. Anyways, hi, friends. Today has been a whole lot of nothing, really. I ended up finishing Our Rogue Fates, though. Yeah, that... I'm no longer on the street team. And I've removed myself from the Discord after talking to one of the mods, of course. Just being like, hey, bestie, that book really didn't work for me. I'm gonna peace out. Just very quietly in the background. I gave that book 1.5 stars. Yeah, okay. I got a lot of my like vitriol and like immediate reactions out in voice notes to Julie, so hopefully this isn't like super mean. This book is something that I should have loved. The concept of this book, everything that it's pitched as, is like a perfect book for me. Like, it's queer, it's adventure, it's quest, it's all this kind of stuff. I should love this. The execution of it was kind of bad. How am I gonna say this? Okay, so I have a few things that like were really bothering me, like top things that were bothering me. Number one is the actual structure of the scenes. I think I might have mentioned this earlier. And the jagged, jarring vibes of the actual scene. My hair is atrocious and it's just driving me nuts. I had it in a clip for a little bit and I thought I was going to keep the curl, but it obviously did. What the fuck? Yep, we're just gonna be a little bit of an egghead. That's fine. Okay, so like the actual structure of the scenes itself, like on a vast level, I would say the pacing of the book is fine, like an overview level of like hitting big plot beats, but like on a scene to scene level, the pacing was so uneven and jarring and kind of badly executed. And it felt like I was driving down a road full of potholes that I couldn't avoid. Like it wasn't even, it wasn't nice, it wasn't flowing. There were things that were happening too fast, or like dialogue would happen and I was just like, the fuck is this happening here for? It was one of those things. Like it's not so obviously done that it was so many people love this book and I love that for them. For me, it was a craft issue with this book. I didn't necessarily hate anything content-wise of the book other than that like actual structure of the scenes and the writing of the scenes. And the writing itself every once in a while, I think as I mentioned previously, felt like it was a few drafts behind where it should be, which is so unfortunate. I don't know, like the lore that was suggested, the ideas of this book were, as I said, something that I should love. And like there was some really interesting things suggested with the quest and the backstory of like trying to figure out what happened to a parent that never ever came home from an adventuring party type situation, and like, you know, like following in his footsteps and trying to find this treasure. Like it is all something very interesting, and I want to know more about the Shadow Queen and all this kind of stuff, but like this book just failed in its execution of it. Like it just did not hit in any way that I wanted it to. It was half-baked and there was not enough backstory and lore that was well done enough to get me anywhere in a realm of happiness for it. The relationships in here also pissed me off and were half-baked, and I didn't like any of the characters because they were all odd in some kind of a way. Like it just didn't work for me, the characters themselves. Like they weren't good people, but not in a way of like, oh, everyone's morally gray and it's very clear. They just weren't great people. Like it wasn't morally gray purposefully bad, like kind of iffy characters, which I love reading characters like that because that's very interesting to me when it's well done. These were just kind of mid, not good people to read. There was also, I think my biggest issue with the actual content of this book, one of the things that bothered me the most was that each of our three sort of main characters, I would say Alice is not even a main character. We have Griff and Mal who are our main characters, but we have three focus characters, I will say. Alice, Mal, and Griff. Every single one of these characters has a substance abuse problem. Alice is a drug user, Mal is an alcoholic, and Griff is someone who is sober, but also someone who drinks twice in this narrative and like isn't bothered by it. So I'm like, you've been sober for 2 years, but yet you can have a drink of something just because this is a different kind of alcohol. Like that should be more bothersome for you to have broken this sobriety if you are sober. Like, and also, Griff specifically never mentions to Mal or Alice that he is sober, ever. He never brings it up. He goes, oh, I should probably do this, but I just won't. And I'm like, why? These are people that you love. This is an issue that you were dealing with, and you overcame it. Like, sobriety is a great thing if you are actively seeking that. Like, tell the people that you love, because then maybe it'll help them realize that they're fucking substance abusers as well. And in the way of like, I don't know, like that was bothersome to me. And then Mal's alcoholism became a symbol at the end of the book. It wasn't handled with care. It wasn't like there weren't conversations throughout the book. It wasn't an attempt to convince him to sobriety or like him choosing or realizing how big of an issue alcohol was to him. There was none of that. It was just a one line from Griff that was like, you should stop drinking yourself because you're gonna die or whatever. And then like the next day, Mal was all like, well, I'm gonna just throw my flask out and I'm just gonna chuck it in this body of water and it's gonna be this big symbolic thing. And then we're gonna go home and everything's gonna be fine because on the way home, I'm just gonna sweat it out and I'm gonna become dry and it's gonna be fine. And then it's never talked about again. And that really rubbed me the wrong way. The fact that he was fully in every scene drinking out of that flask, having whiskey. He always smelled like whiskey. He was gently drunk in many scenes. and very drunk in some scenes. Like that was a constant problem, and it never occurred to him that it was a problem or the people around him that it was a problem until Griff's one-off line that, hey, you should stop drinking because you're gonna drink yourself to death. And then he was like, oh yeah, you're right, actually, so easy to just throw this away. Like, it wasn't handled very well. And then Alice's problem. Okay, so Alice is a mom of 3 kids under the age of 6. I think I mentioned this earlier. She is described, she's not a point of view character, so we aren't in her head, but she's described in this book as her natural state being gently high. Like, she takes mushrooms in the morning to get through her day. And then she also takes them to be able to sleep at night. But it knocks her out so hard that she actually misses her 2 friends like getting seriously injured, and she's only woken up when it's really, really, really bad, and she misses a lot of things because of it. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. It's kind of an allegory for like a weed user or something if she has a lot of anxiety, but it's not touched on as to if she's using this for a reason to help her with something. She just uses it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with people using substances to help them through things. Like, if it's a controlled weed usage or THC usage for specifically like anxiety and depression or PTSD or something with medical pain, like if it's used for a reason, then it's okay, but it's never addressed in this narrative. You know what I mean? So it rubbed me the wrong way. Also, the fact that she's a mom and her natural state is to be gently high, that's concerning to me because she's around her children all the time. That is concerning. Number 1. Number 2, her abuse of these mushrooms and these drugs, like she drugs her 2 friends with berries right when they start on their quest because she thinks it's going to be funny. She says, oh, I'm going to bring a little treat back for you guys, feeds them some berries that they're like, this is really terribly tasting, what the fuck. And then like 10 minutes later, Griff is going through a really terrible trip and Mal is just like, just ride it out, bestie. Like, and it's like, she drugged them without their consent or their knowledge. Problematic. And she thinks it's funny because she's high and she's giggling in the corner. And like, these people aren't good people, as you can see. The next thing that she does at some point in this novel is that she gives their pack horse, which they stole from some bards who were going to a competition of some kind that they just killed. Okay, they have this pack horse. She gives it some mushrooms because she thinks it's going to calm the beast down, because there's like an attack happening. It's worded in a way that I swear to God, I thought that horse had died. Because she's like, oh, the horse is gone because I fed it some mushrooms. And I was like, gone? You killed it? What? And then like the next page, it was like, no, actually it just ran away. And I was like, oh my God, this woman is a mother. Like, this is so concerning. She has no, like, she's like, I just didn't realize it would happen. And I'm like, Bessie, you're feeding things psychedelic, world-altering drugs. Like, this alters your reality. Why would you feed that to an animal that has no consent? What the fuck? What? Like, just tie it to a tree so it doesn't run away. Like, come on. Common sense. Not even in her brain. When she does this and she realizes this is a mistake, they, like, Griff and Mal are like, yeah, bestie, that was a huge mistake to do. You lost our horse. Not the fact that she fed it drugs, but the fact that she lost the horse was the problem. And her substance abuse is never touched on by the other characters in this book. And that's what really rubbed me the wrong way. Like, she is obviously going through something. And I'm wondering if the author was keeping whatever her substance abuse thing was for her book, if she's going to write an Alice book, I don't know. But like, why was it never touched on? That is what's bothering me. So this book did not handle the substance abuse correctly. And here's the thing. If it was one character and their substance abuse was just mentioned and it wasn't necessarily like a big plot thing, I might be able to get over it. But it was all 3 characters have substance abuse issues. If you have 3 main focus POVs with some sort of issue like this, you are obviously trying to say something. So say something. You know what I mean? Like, the narrative should deal with that. And it should be a big point in the book. Because you made 3 of your characters have some kind of substance abuse issues. Whether it was alcoholism or drug abuse. I just think it was handled so poorly. So there's my big rant about that. That was longer than I anticipated it being, but I needed to make sure that my points were clear and I wanted to say them the right way. I really wanted to like this book. It is something that I should have absolutely loved. It is pitched as a Lord of the Rings queer situation. It was originally pitched as that. And then the author changed her marketing tactics because of the reason that their publisher was like being a piece of shit. And so that Sarah Glenn Marsh aimed for queer Critical Role fans. And I'm like, Bestie, you caught me in both of those nets. This should be a perfect book for me. And I gave it 1.5 stars. But here's the thing. I seem to be in the major minority on this. So I would still, if you are still interested in this book and if you were excited about this book, please still pick it up. And like, low-key, tell me how you feel about it, because I love finding books. I was telling my friend Alexander this the other day because he was picking up The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo and he was loving it. And that is a book I thought was a super flop. I gave it like 2 stars maybe, because I think I've read Leigh Bardugo's other books, most of them, and I think that The Familiar is such a failure on her part as a writer and as an artist, because it is such a step back in quality from what she was given and all this kind of stuff. And I was telling him this and he goes, no, but like it is hitting so perfectly for me because I just love the atmosphere. I love the gothicness of it. Like it's just working for me. And I'm like, that's wonderful. I love when people love books that I hate, unless they're problematic books. You know what I mean? So like, if you love this book and if it really works for you, that is perfect, and I love that for you. When it comes out in April, please check it out. Get it from your library, you know, try it and tell me how you feel about it, because maybe I'm really off base with this. Maybe I'm wrong in my opinions on this one, and I would love for you to come in the comments and tell me that I'm wrong. That is my opinion on this. God, I was talking to a friend recently. It might have been Julie, it might have been someone else, but I think it might have been even Sophia too. As an author, I feel so odd sometimes coming on the internet, and like the idea of coming on the internet and talking about books that I don't like and what I find wrong with them. It eats at me a little bit, because like the idea of doing so, actively telling you guys about the books that I read and reviewing them and talking about them and talking about things that worked for me and what didn't work for me. I love doing that, and I don't want to stop doing that. But the idea of doing so as an author, and as it's the fact that it is, it's such a weird little conundrum, because I am a booktuber, book talker, book person first, and then an author second. And I'm not necessarily a traditionally published author, but these are my colleagues. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a weird thing. And I know a lot of authors have like completely like book people who have become writers have like actually stepped away from the review space because they don't want to rustle any feathers or, you know, whatever, like, I don't know, burn bridges or whatever when it comes to reviewing books. But genuinely, I love sharing what I think about books with you guys, because one, it's an interesting thing to talk about as someone who is an author. Like, I don't know if someone who is not an author and is a reader who would read this book would see the same issues with the scenes that I do, because I see issues with the actual construction of the book as an author. You know what I mean? So I find it fascinating to discuss this stuff with you guys and do that and all this kind of stuff. So I don't know. It's such a weird feeling of like, these are my colleagues, essentially, that I am belittling their work in some way, but I don't necessarily want to belittle. I am just saying what didn't go right for me. You know what I mean? What do you guys think on this? Do you find it weird when authors are also in the review space? Like, should I just straight up stop talking about my ratings of books? And if I don't like a book, should I just not really talk about it and then only talk about books that I love? Like, should it be like that? Would you guys prefer that? Or do you guys like that I'm more open and honest about the books that I read and talk about like what I think is working or not working for a book? Like, I would really like to know your opinions. I love that I said this after ripping apart this book and giving it 1.5 stars, but I would be really curious to know your opinion on that. And if you guys genuinely think that I should chill and maybe not share my like final ratings of books, but just share like general opinions and stuff, but be a little bit more mediating, like the fact that like I could go at this book and be like, I really liked the representation in here. I liked that it was so queer. I liked that we had different shapes of families, with the fact that we had, you know, 2 orphan kids and 1 fatherless child raised by that fatherless child's mother, who is a terrible mother, and also another friend that I don't actually know is if they're like lesbian lovers or not. Like, that was never clear. She's just another woman in the house, which we love. We love villages raising children. Like, I love that aspect of this book. I love the, you know, the quest and the angst and the yearning and whatever. Like, there's aspects of the books that I did like, you know what I mean? So I could go at the rating of books a little bit more median, if that would be better. I don't know. Genuinely, I don't know how to fit into the space as I'm trying to go forward in my career and become more of a bigger author, a traditionally published, a hybrid author, if you will, with both self and traditional publishing. Like, I'm hopefully one day going to be in the same realm as these authors of the books that I'm reading. Not the indie published books, but the traditionally published books. And like potentially I might share agents or editors or publishing houses with these authors. Like, I don't know. It is such a weird conundrum to be in. I don't even know what I'm asking at this point or talking about at this point. That is just where I'm at right now. What do you guys think about that? If you are an indie author or an author of any kind and are still in the bookish space like I am, do you still review books? And if so, do you do it in a way where you kind of balance things? You give good and bad, but no final number. Because I could do that. I could easily do that. And then like, I do keep a separate Goodreads for my author profile and then my like book reviewer profile. So they're not connected. So I do have a different Goodreads and a different Storygraph and stuff like that. It's such a weird place to be in because these are my colleagues. My one friend, she literally will not review books of authors that she has met or that she could possibly be a colleague of because she just feels so awkward about the fact that she might know this person one day. And she would be like, I know the authors would never like go back and be like, what does this person think of my books? Kind of a thing. Like, that's just not a thing. But what if they found out that you hated their book or something? I say that and I'm thinking back to last year where I ripped apart Isabella Banya. I ripped apart her one book that was terrible. It was one of my 2 1.5 star books or 3 1.5 star books that year. And then Ava Reed's book, Fable for the End of the World, was an absolute trash fire heap of a book. That was my least favorite book of last year, right? So like, I'm thinking back to those videos that I talked about those books and I'm like, God, I was so mean. But I was also 100% truthful. So I don't know if there's a better way to handle that. And I'm very curious what you guys think. Like, would you prefer for me to continue just as I am, being incredibly honest? Would you prefer that I just take numbers out of it entirely and don't tell you my star ratings on anything and just tell you my opinions on the books and the stories themselves? Because I can definitely do that. Or would you rather me be a little bit more median and just not talk about the books that I don't really like that much? Just say, oh, this didn't work for me and move on, and then just love books that I love. You know what I mean? Anyways, I have been talking for so long. Please let me know your opinions. I am terrified to pick up another book, but I'm going to be picking up Unending by Ivelisse Houseman next because my audiobook is running out in 3 days, 2 days, 3. It says 3 right now, but it is Sunday, so I'm assuming it's 3 days still. Might be just 2. So I would like to finish that. But tomorrow I do have a live stream with Lindsay. It is on her Patreon. She clarified it today for me. It is on her Patreon. So if you want to go see this live stream, you gotta go join her Patreon. It's exclusive. It's going to be exclusive for her viewers on her Patreon, and we're going to be yapping about some world building, or like we're going to be doing something with her stories, and it's going to be like a spaghetti session against the wall. It's going to be so fun. I just know, and it's hopefully going to be really inspiring and will want to make me write. That is one thing about Our Rogue Fates. It was making me want to write. So hopefully that bug stays and I can like pick up my own books as we go forth here. But so there's that tomorrow. And then I also have my friend's book club tomorrow evening, which I should type up notes for at some point tomorrow. So I can send them to her. But I don't know why I said that so forcefully. I don't have anything else to say. That is what tomorrow is. I've got a sleepy baboon over there in her box. I love her very dearly. Yeah, I'm talking about you. I have my book square filled out for Our Rogue Fates. At least it gave me a very pretty square. We love that. At least the next book I'm going to read is going to be a tandem read, and I will get back to my beloved tandem reads. I've also noticed that I'm gonna have to, in my media journal, I'm gonna definitely have to move this extras page back. Like, I'm gonna have to move it real far back because I am using up so many more pages per book than I was anticipating. Sure, there's gonna be books this year that I don't use many pages for, if any at all, as I get into it, but because I'm so like into the fact that I have a media book right now, I am using it a lot. I used 3 pages for Our Rogue Fates. And then I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages for my friend Sophie's book. Obviously, because I was doing that as more of a beta read. And then I'd like been using like 2 to 3 pages per book. So I need to move that extras page back a little bit, I think. Because I don't know if I'm going to have as much to say about the things that I consume other than like the books that I'm reading, you know what I mean? So I'm just gonna slice it very cleanly and then just tape it in a little later. But I'm loving having this book here. This is the best thing that I could have done. Like, legitimately, I highly, highly, highly recommend getting yourself a notebook and just putting thoughts down. Like, every once in a while, which is like where the color, like the slightly different colored pen comes in, I will write down a quote that pisses me off or I really like, or I just have an idea about, and then I will write my idea after that. You know what I mean? It's great for brain. Anyways, I'm gonna go to bed. I've been chatting to you for 26 minutes. I gotta go sleep so I can be awake for Lindsay's live stream tomorrow and like proper and good and showered and all this kind of stuff. So I love you very dearly. I'm gonna talk to you tomorrow for Sunday. But yes, at least we've read a 5th book in January. At least we did that. Pretty girl. Are you upside down? You're upside down. Hello, little miss. It's not focusing on you. You're too much of a black void. Yeah. You look so brown today, baby. Look at all this brown in you. What are you doing? Are you playing with my curtains? Yeah. Hi, Bubba. Playing with my curtains. Ho, 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 ho. Is this your vlog now? Is this your vlog now? Is that you? Wow, what a pretty girl. Hello, friends. Oh my god, what the fuck? I did not notice that. Skin's dry. But it doesn't feel dry. It just, this happens around my eyes in the winter. Fun fact. Hi friends, happy Sunday. I'm here. It's bright and sunny outside, which is why I'm standing in front of my window right now, because it's sunny. And it's not that cold coming in. Like, there's not much wind right now. It's just cold as tits outside. What is it? Oh, it's only minus 24. It's only minus 24. Oh, and it's like, I wonder what it's like with the wind chill. It was minus 34 a couple hours ago. So anyways, hello friends. I just got off the live stream with Lindsay. Oh, it was so good. I am now brimming. I am brimming with potential. I need this because I want to start thinking about Sage's story again, and I think I might do some world building or just percolating of stories. I like that I'm gesturing with my hand with you in it, which is so funny. But I also want to read. So I want to start Unending by Ivy Houseman, because as I said last night, the audiobook is going to leave. But what a fantastic live stream. Oh my god. Ooh, if you want to see it, go check out Lindsay's Patreon. She's amazing. I love her so dearly. I'm literally gonna go sign up for her Patreon so I can go watch the other ones that she's done of these brainstorming sessions, because I just need to know, I need to see. I feel very inspired. Also, I'm wearing my cat sweater because of course I am. Styling. My hair is driving me crazy. I feel all sorts of energized. Today's gonna be a very like creative leaning day because of the live stream, and then also talking about Sophie's book later with the gang. So I'm excited about that, but also a little nervous because I didn't love the book. The experience of reading it either, as I've talked about, waxed poetic. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting time. I'm very interested to see what everyone else has ideas of, especially like, I don't know why I'm like so specifically curious about Samuel's ideas for this book, but Samuel is my friend Hannah's boyfriend. But I think he was the first one who read the book, or started it at least. No, like, other than Tamsin, who is Sophie's partner. Wife! Sophie's wife, they're married now, Jesus Christ. I don't know, I'm intrigued to see what he says. We have had him in book club spaces, I think once or twice. And he's always had really interesting topics to talk about, or like thoughts to talk about, I don't know. And I mean, like, I know what my other friends talk about, and I know what they focus on a lot. I'm intrigued to see what everyone says about Sophie's book. Whew, I feel like I'm on fucking cloud 9 right now. I love talking to people about creative things. Why can't you stay standing ever? I gotta fill up my water. But I love talking about creative things with creative people, to see how their brain works, to toss ideas around, you know, it's just fantastic. Anyways, what a good time. What a wonderful time. I love that. I feel so jazzed now. Anyways, it is now 3:15, and I believe Sophie wants us there for 6, so I have many hours to just kind of do what I want, see what happens on this here Sunday afternoon. But oh, what a good time. Truly, what a good time. Anyways, you guys should go check out Lindsay anyways, her channel and stuff. I'm gonna leave her information down below so you can go check her out, because she's awesome and I love the content that she creates. So now I'm just brimming. I'm brimming with things that I want to think about and do. My hair is a fucking mess today. It's driving me crazy. This is what happens when it's really, really cold and dry and your hair just, yep. It's fine. It's fine. Anyways, I'm gonna hang out and do some thinking, I think. And I'll chat to you a little later, but oh my god, what a good live stream. Hello, friends. Happy Monday. Technically Tuesday because it's like 1:30 in the morning. Yeah, 1:30. I had to double check that it wasn't 2:30 suddenly. I'm in the middle of editing this vlog. I've edited up to this clip, so just need to wrap it up. But I want to double down on something that I said earlier in this vlog about our Rogue Fates, about the fact that I want other people to read it and tell me what you think of it. Because here's the thing, I had Sophie's book club yesterday, and I swear to God, I was taking notes on it because I was taking notes. I was trying to be a good reader. I thought I was a good reader. I thought I had great comprehension. Sorry, I realized that I'm not sitting up properly to talk to you. I thought I was a good reader. I thought I had good comprehension. Half the time when I was sitting there with my friends, I would say something and I'd be like, oh, this was missing. Everyone else would be like, Jenna, what the fuck? It was mentioned many times. Did you read the book? And then another thing would come up and they'd be like, Jen, did you read the same book as us? So many times. So now I'm concerned about my reading comprehension and my memory and my ability to read at all without like an audiobook around. So please read our Rogue Fates. If you are at all interested in it, pick it up from the library. If you're unsure about it, get the ebook from your library. If and when they have it, and let me know what you think of it, because I'm so concerned that I read it wrong. Like, I'm just like, what if I missed some big thing? But I tried so hard to not skim with that book and with Sophie's book, so I don't know what the fuck I was doing. But yeah, that was fun. Sophie's book club was very, very fun. Her and Tamsin made us gnocchi. It was very tasty. For dinner, we had gnocchi and we had some delicious salad. I can't remember exactly what they put on. It was like a honey dill type situation salad with like apples and pine nuts. It was very good. Pine nuts, walnuts, something like that. Very tasty, very refreshing. Oh, and cucumbers. I love a cucumber. Very homey as well because last night was the final night of our like deep freeze. Granted, it is still cold as balls today because although I went to work and I was like, it's only -14. It feels like the wind chill is -24. Like, this is reasonable winter weather. I can bundle against this. This is like, I could handle this for a while outside. And then I came out of work and then I went to go fill up my car with gas and also get milk at the grocery store. I was so cold. The wind was so biting. It like went into my skin and made me feel like I was being like a White Walker, just drawn. I don't know, man. It was cold as balls. So it's cold today too. So who's to say? We're in the winter, of course, winter peg, if you will. I think my dad said the other day that we were colder than Mars. We've done that one year once. We were -53 with the wind chill a couple years ago around Christmas. It was crazy cold. And this time as well, we were officially marked as the coldest place in the entire world. Colder than Mars, colder than Antarctica, and also the Arctic North Pole vibe. Crazy. Because there has also been a lot of really deep negative degrees around as well. Like, not only up here, but in like Minnesota and stuff, where they got like a butt ton of snow. So I hope that if you were part of the snowstorm, that you are warm and safe and cozy, and you stayed that way this weekend, and you weren't too badly attacked by the snowstorm. I'm realizing that I need to cut my bangs because they keep getting caught in my glasses. They're a little long. I literally just looked here and I was like, do I just do it on? No. I'm not gonna do it on screen. I need a mirror, not a camera. But oh my god, my friends. So this weekend was kind of an interesting time with books being read. I did start Unending by Ivelisse Houseman. I have like a day left on the audiobook, so I do have to try and finish it tomorrow, but I am on page 44. I got a little bit of reading done between the live stream, and I think I read for like 45 minutes or something before going to Sophie and Tamsin's last night, so there's that. But yeah, the book club was great. It was a really fun conversation. It was really interesting to see what everyone else was talking about, what everyone else noticed or brought up or what have you. I also ended up bringing out Far Horizons, the notebook, yesterday, because after Lindsay's live stream, I was just buzzing. And then after Sophie's book club as well, I was buzzing because it was different. It was creative, and it was talking about creative stuff and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I want to be creative. I want to write. So I did a journal entry or a journal spread, kind of a fun one. Implemented some writing in it as well, which was very fun. Did a journal spread, and it was all about how like I wanted to write. I wanted to like kind of capitalize on the inspiration that I was feeling. So then I was like, why don't I just fucking do it instead of journaling about it? So I picked up Ye Old Notebook, and I ended up, for some reason with this project, coming back to it when I'm like resurfacing in the story and getting used to it. I do like world building stuff or coming up with a tiny bit of lore for something. I reread through a couple pages of my notes, like a couple pages of the plot that I've got in here, jot noted and stuff like that. And then I came to this page that I had like written down different notes app ideas, because sometimes when I don't have this notebook with me or I'm in bed or whatever, I will pull my notes app out and just like type in a notes app, just like Far Horizons idea on this day. So I transferred that into this book just so I had them. And it was like something about what we discussed on Lindsay's live stream because we talked about like rituals and holidays and that kind of a thing. I was like, okay, well, I know there is going to be a specific moment coming up in the book in Anchorage, where they are in the pirating village, a festival of some kind. And then I was like, well, I've also deeply discussed with my own brain, because who else would I talk to about this other than my own brain, about the fact that there are like, this place is full of pirates. I might have also mentioned it in a previous video of talking about Stacia's story. These are pirates from everywhere in Revar and around the continent of Reverin. So I'm just like, ain't no way that they all have the same religion. They're going to have different beliefs. They're going to have opposing beliefs. There are going to be some folks from the Nerian Empire there who worship the old gods and the old ways. And then there's going to be ones that aren't religious at fucking all, right? Like, it's going to be such a smorgasbord of people. Also, like, a lot of religions in the world have very similar, and a lot of celebrations and stuff have very similar timings in the world, because of different naturally based things. Like, I'm thinking like solstices and like paganism, and then Christmas is around the same time. And it's like, there's a lot of like winter based holidays, and there's also a lot of summer based stuff or spring based stuff in the world, right? And there's, you know, rebirth and all this kind of stuff. So I'm like taking these ideas. I basically wrote like just brain dump of like, because it is a community full of people from everywhere in the world, they would have to kind of come to a balance of their stuff. Like, yes, individually they would celebrate with their families in their own way when their religious moments would come or festivals would come around, but also there's got to be moments for the whole community to celebrate together. And like, it would become like many years down the line, maybe a couple generations from now, from when the book is set, like in the future, these would become their own type of religion almost. Like, it would kind of take on a life of its own. But at the point where they're at, it's not quite there yet. It's a little messy. It's a little still being built kind of vibes. It would just be fascinating if there was stuff like this that would happen. Not necessarily what that one festival is in this book, but it would be interesting to think about. I mean, I definitely would base it around like natural stuff and seasonal stuff, because a lot of the one thing that is going to happen in this book is going to be around the seasonal shift, like in A Favored Fae, because with the magic in Aramount, or in Revar, that I've established in A Favored Fae, the lore of that magic is a lot like, magic gets a little bit more powerful around the seasonal shifts, like shit gets wacky, and it's also a time to like think people can tap into that magic and use that magic for stuff, which is gonna happen. You know what I mean? So I was like writing down different things like that, and then I also started going down a path of like, what kind of superstitions would these guys have? Like, this is where my brain goes. What kind of superstitions that they would have as pirates and as sailors, and what would they bring, and how would they bring that into a land-based living, right? Because they do live in this village, and there are people who go sailing and like trading and stuff like that still, and do their pirating thing, because they're pirates, they're never going to give that up, but they live here, this is home. How would they bring those superstitions to home? And then that got me into, you know, like I googled some stuff, like what are some typical superstitions of pirates and things like that, and obviously there's like women on board and whatever, and I'm not bringing that into here. Women can be wherever the fuck they want. I really liked the idea, and also sparked by Lindsay talking about coins in her live stream. I was like, what? Like, there was the idea of like pirates and sailors would pay a tithe to the sea before they would have a voyage. They would like flick a coin into the sea just to pay a tithe to the gods and hope for a good smooth voyage or whatever. And I loved that idea. That is so fascinating for like, it stems into like asking for luck or whatever. Maybe bringing it onto land, it would be like the start of a season, like asking for luck with the sailing season, like having it be a good one, or like, you know, harvests, or like just general, like, and I feel like people would do it if they're about to ask someone to marry them, or like, you know, like it would kind of be just part of their culture to ask the sea for luck in a way, with like paying tithe to the sea. There's a couple more things that I wrote down, but that coin specific thing, I was thinking about the festival that was going to happen in the book, and also specifically festivals that would be created in this world specifically for my pirates to celebrate, because they also, as pirates in this world, have kind of taken on a belief that the ocean is an entity of herself. There are sea gods in both the new and the old religions in this world, but the sea itself, to pirates and to sailors, is also an entity. Like, the sea herself decides for herself. You can be the god of the sea and storms and whatever, but you do not control the sea, you know? So it's like sailors know very, very well that the sea mother, if you will, she is her own entity, and you have to pay tithe to her. So there's a lot of sea specific stuff in here, and they have a lot of different celebrations around the sea mother and the sea, like it's very specifically the sea mother's festival, which is starting kind of in the seasonal shift between spring and summer, because then it's like, it's kicking off the good season, the sailing season, when they're going to be on the waters, when they're, you know, the weather's getting better, all this kind of stuff. So they're kicking off this season with a Sea Mother Fest. It's all like, they're all are little nods to the gods as well, the gods of the sea, because they know if they don't, the gods will get mad. So they have to be like, yeah, you too, bestie, don't worry about it, but like, this is for the sea. So little things like that is very specifically a pirating and sailing thing in this world. So it's going to be really fascinating to explore. And then I was writing down different games that they could do, different decor that would happen, which ties into another aspect of the plot, which I just thought up, and I was like, a link, which I love happening. And then I was like, events, like things that would happen at this thing. Definitely want there to be like fun magical fireworks and stuff at midnight, so that they are ringing in the first day of the season well, in a way. And then there's like this whole thing of where they would ring in the season, and then they would also just party all night, drink all night, and then send off the first sailors on their first voyage. Everyone's still a little tipsy, like in that kind of a way, like very joyous, very happy or whatever. And then I was thinking like food contests, and then I went back to the coins. I think it would be really interesting to have the entire town do a coin tithe to the sea at the beginning of the season during this festival. And thinking of that made me think of like the setting that it would be on, like on top of some of the cliffs on this island, and just having the entire village there, which is not that many people. Like, it's not a huge village. It is a growing, bustling village, but it is not thousands and thousands of people strong, right? It's maybe hundreds and hundreds of people. You know what I mean? So it's not crazy huge, but there would be a crowd, and everyone would be at the edge. And then there would be this moment of someone would say, the sea calls, and then everyone else would answer and say, to us all in the end, which is their thing. They say the sea calls to us all in the end. Like, it's kind of like this mantra thing that they all have. And then they would all flick the coin or toss the coin or whatever. And it would be this moment of like, you can hear all the coins flicking into the sea. And then like, you can see them all winking in the sun, or like in the dying sun or whatever, whenever this thing is held. And then that inspired an entire scene in my head that is going to be one of the final scenes in the first book. I wrote it all last night, longhand. Yeah, so first moment of like actual creativity with my writing work happened this weekend, which I'm so happy about, and I'm really hoping to like capitalize on that, and I want to get back into writing. I want to like really focus on this bout of inspiration and work on it. And Lindsay also, I've been yapping for forever. This is just gonna be a really long vlog. Apologies, but Lindsay also inspired me to do something like she did, like do live streams of like brainstorming and stuff. I don't know if I could do it for Far Horizon specifically, maybe book 2 and 3 of like, even then that would be so difficult to do a live stream with, because it would have to be with someone who's read book 1 and knows the lore, you know what I mean? And then it would have to be non-spoilery, which is so hard to do. So maybe not book 2. Maybe that would be like a private session with myself. Because also yapping to myself is some fantastic ways of doing stuff. But I was thinking of like when I am in a break from Far Horizons, if I've written draft 1 and I'm in a break of like letting it sit before going back in for draft 2 and I want to work on something else, I could pull in people to do live stream brainstorming sessions for my cozy projects that I have that I don't have a world for, especially the cozy space one that I talked about in my recent video. I also noticed in that video that I did not talk about a single Arrowmount spin-off book that I have in my head. I have so many novellas in my head. I have full novels in my head that are set in the same world. I have an entire trilogy in my head for the same world that is like the prequel trilogy, essentially, where we have May's story, possibly. We definitely have Kier's dad's story with the blacksmithery. Like I have ideas for this stuff. And I was like, shit, do I have to do a part 2? Because honestly, I could probably do a part 2. Could just dredge up more shit that I have in my head and talk specifically about the Arrowmount books and all the spin-offs that I have in my head for that, because there's a lot. I just exist in a writer's brain. That is all it is. And I just constantly have ideas. I totally forgot about them when I was filming that video, but it was probably apt because I was talking for so long and my voice was leaving me. So I would have been another half hour of yapping probably attached to that video. Anyways, what was I going to say? Oh yes, but yes. The live streams would be a really interesting idea, I think. And it was also fascinating to see like how people's brains work. And it would be so interesting to get your guys' input in a live stream, have you guys question and have you guys pitch ideas and stuff like that, because it's such an inspiring place to be when you're watching and actively engaging with someone who is creating. You know what I mean? So I don't know, like look at what being on Lindsay's live stream did. I fucking wrote an entire scene last night that I didn't have in my head at all. I created an entire fucking festival that I didn't have at all. Created another tradition that the pirates have on Anchorage. Like, I need to write this fucking book. That is where I'm at right now. Anyhoozle. This weekend was a great one. The reading was abysmal, but that's okay because everything else was fantastic. I had such a creative, wonderful weekend, and I hung out and talked to so many wonderful people, all my friends in different capacities, you know, became a little creative, did some sort of things. I did my square. I did a journal at my crochet square. I did my journal piece for this. I played Animal Crossing. I just paid off one of my house loans, upgraded my storage. I just went and did so much fishing because CJ was on my island and he pays more for fish. So I did so much fucking fishing. Fishing in Animal Crossing I find so goddamn annoying because you have to just keep moving up and down the islands and the beaches and the rivers. You just have to keep moving to find another fucking fish. It drives me crazy. Anyways, my house loan is paid off. I now have the 500 some odd thousand one to pay off next, but anyways. I have been yapping for way too long. This is supposed to be the end of the vlog, but apparently I had a lot to update you on. And it's always fun to drop a little lore at the end of a video for those special few who watched the end of the video. If you made it all the way this far and you haven't yet left a comment, leave me a little sword emoji down below for Sage's story and this D&D story that's coming out eventually that I need to write. Anyways, my friends, thank you so much for hanging out with me this weekend. It's been a whirlwind. It's been a journey as we got through the deep freeze, read a book, finished an arc at least, read the 5th book of January, found our first 1.5 star, and then did some creative stuff. So I will catch you in another video very soon. I love you all very deeply. Stay kind and keep on reading.